New Jersey may be called the Garden State, but not every town is blossoming. Some places feel more like weeds, draining your wallet, testing your patience, and leaving you wondering why moving there ever seemed like a good idea. Welcome to the top 10 worst towns to live in New Jersey right now, places that many residents come to regret calling home. In this countdown, we're uncovering the most problematic towns in New Jersey, where safety, affordability, and overall quality of life often take a back seat. From high crime rates to shaky local economies, these are the places you'll want to think twice about before moving. Think you already know what life in New Jersey is like? Buckle up. Behind the polished suburbs and busy shorelines lies a much darker reality, one you won't find in a real estate brochure. This isn't just another list of struggling towns, it's a reality check for anyone considering a move to the Garden State. Stick around as we count down the 10 towns you should avoid, and see which one takes the top spot. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another breakdown. Number 10. East Orange. East Orange doesn't exactly roll out the welcome mat, unless you count a threadbare one riddled with holes. Regularly landing on lists of New Jersey's most dangerous places, the city is known less for charm and more for flashing police lights. According to FBI data, East Orange reports about 870 violent crimes per 100,000 residents, more than double the national average of 380. Property crime adds to the headache, with break-ins, thefts, and carjackings a part of daily life. For a city spanning just over 3 square miles, that's a lot of trouble packed into a small space. The struggles don't stop at crime. Median household income hovers around $58,000, far below New Jersey's average of $97,000, U.S. Census Bureau, 2023. That gap shows in pothole-ridden streets, underfunded schools, and neighborhoods straining to keep up. On the surface, East Orange seems appealing. Quick access to New York City and median home values around $375,000, cheaper than the state average of $500,000. But affordability comes at a cost, and peace of mind isn't included in the deal. Population growth has slowed as more families leave than move in, which says a lot. Location isn't everything. Proximity to Manhattan might sound great, but in East Orange it comes with trade-offs, and too often, those trade-offs mean gambling with your safety. Number 9. Irvington. Irvington isn't the kind of place you'll see in a glossy relocation brochure, unless it comes with a warning label. With about 60,000 residents, the town packs plenty of problems. Violent crime here is nearly 3 times the national average, Neighborhood Scout. Robberies and assaults are so common they've become part of the background noise. With odds of being a victim at 1 in 28, even something as simple as walking the dog feels like a risk. The problems are decades old: persistent gang activity, high unemployment, and weak infrastructure. Median household income sits at $53,000, nearly half the state average. Schools are underfunded, streets are worn down, and families feel the strain. At first glance, housing looks like a bargain, with median home prices near $380,000. But high car insurance and soaring theft rates eat away at those savings, like buying a budget phone that cracks at the slightest touch. Being next door to Newark doesn't help either. Instead of sharing opportunity, Irvington has inherited many of Newark's problems, without the resources to fix them. To its credit, the community is tough and proud, with deep roots and resilience. But resilience doesn't erase the daily grind of crime and poverty. Until investment catches up, Irvington remains more of a cautionary tale than a place to plant roots. Number 8. Elizabeth. Elizabeth, New Jersey's 4th largest city, proves that bigger doesn't always mean better. With over 135,000 residents, it has the makings of a hub: major transit access, proximity to NYC, and Newark Airport next door. but the reality is far less glamorous. FBI data shows Elizabeth's violent crime rate is more than 50% above the national average, with robberies and assaults especially common. Property crime is another major problem. Car thefts here are so rampant that owning a vehicle can feel like a revolving lease. Economically, the city falls behind. Median household income is about $58,000, compared to the state's $97,000 average. Nearly 1 in 5 residents lives in poverty, and schools struggle with overcrowding. While revitalization projects exist, many feel like temporary fixes for much larger problems. The housing market adds more frustration. Median home values hover around $430,000, hardly a bargain for a city weighed down by crime and inequality. Families often end up paying big city prices without the stability or safety they hoped for. Elizabeth does shine in one area: its diversity. With vibrant Latino, Black, and immigrant communities, the cultural fabric is strong and resilient. But resilience doesn't erase the stress of daily life in a city where poverty and crime set the tone. Elizabeth shows that location on paper doesn't always equal quality of life, and here, too often, the story ends with sirens, flashing lights, and frustration. Number 7. Bridgeton. Bridgeton may sound picturesque, but the reality is far from idyllic. With under 25,000 residents, this small town reports crime rates that rival much larger New Jersey cities. Neighborhood Scout data shows Bridgeton's violent crime rate is more than double the national average, giving residents about a 1 in 80 chance of becoming victims, odds nobody wants. Property crime is also widespread, keeping police stretched thin. The economic picture is equally bleak. Median household income is roughly $42,000, among the lowest in the state and less than half of New Jersey's $97,000 median, U.S. Census Bureau, 2023. Nearly 30% of residents live below the poverty line, reinforcing the cycle between crime and poverty. Housing may seem affordable, with median values around $180,000 compared to the state's $500,000 average. But here, affordability comes with a cost: diminished safety and stability. It's like buying a bargain car only to realize it breaks down at every stoplight. What makes Bridgeton frustrating is its untapped potential. Surrounded by natural beauty in Cumberland County, it could thrive as a charming retreat. Instead, poverty and neglect have turned it into a cautionary tale. So, would you accept cheaper housing in exchange for higher crime outside your door? For many, the answer is no, and that's why Bridgeton continues losing residents who are unwilling to live in constant defense mode. Number 6. Asbury Park. At first glance, Asbury Park looks like a dream: an iconic boardwalk, a vibrant music legacy, and a trendy coastal vibe. But beneath the postcard image lies a set of serious problems. Despite a population of just 15,000, crime rates here mirror those of far larger cities. FBI statistics show violent crime is nearly 3 times the national average, with robberies and assaults particularly common. Property crimes, thefts, break-ins, and car burglaries are so frequent that locals joke about needing 2 locks: one for their home, and one for their peace of mind. Financially, the city is equally divided. The median household income is around $61,000, well below the statewide $97,000, U.S. Census Bureau, 2023. About 20% of residents live below the poverty line, creating a stark contrast to the upscale condos and cocktail lounges by the ocean. It's 2 worlds in one zip code. Visitors indulging in seaside luxuries while longtime locals struggle just blocks away. Housing adds another paradox. Median home values hover near $575,000, above the state average, meaning people pay premium prices in a city where safety is far from certain. It's like buying front row seats to a concert only to find out the main act isn't performing. Yes, Asbury Park has culture and entertainment, which keep it popular with tourists. But for residents, the risks are harder to ignore. Here's the real question. Does cultural appeal outweigh the constant threat of crime? Visitors can overlook it, but residents live it every day. In the end, Asbury Park is a city of contrasts. Vibrant on the surface, volatile underneath. Anyone moving here should recognize they're not just buying into a seaside dream. They're also buying into daily risks that come with it. Number 5. Newark. Newark's reputation precedes it, and not in ways most cities would envy. With nearly 310,000 residents, New Jersey's largest city is also one of its most challenging places to live when safety and stability are priorities. This isn't a case of typical big city issues. It's more like a chronic fever that never fully breaks. Crime remains a defining concern. Newark's violent crime rate sits well above the national average, with residents facing a 1 in 129 chance of victimization. Carjackings, in particular, have become infamous. In 2022, Essex County reported more than 14,000 stolen vehicles, with Newark leading the list. Here, parking isn't about paying the meter. It's about hoping your car is still there when you return. On the economic front, Newark continues to battle entrenched poverty. Median household income is around $46,000, less than half the statewide median of $97,000, U.S. Census Bureau, 2023. Nearly 28% of residents live below the poverty line, perpetuating a cycle where poverty fuels crime, and crime stifles opportunity. Revitalization projects have reshaped parts of downtown, but many neighborhoods still face unemployment, underfunded schools, and limited resources. Housing is complicated. Median home values sit near $420,000, cheaper than New York metro prices but offset by outdated infrastructure, strained services, and safety concerns. Affordability here comes with trade-offs. Still, Newark has undeniable strengths. It's home to top universities, world-class arts venues, and one of the state's largest Black and Latino communities. Yet, cultural vibrancy doesn't erase crime rates or infrastructure challenges. Newark is a city of contrasts, resilience and hardship coexisting. The real question: do you take a chance on its potential, or walk away from the risks that have defined it for decades? Number 4. Paterson. Paterson, New Jersey's third largest city, is where history and hardship intersect. Once thriving as the Silk City of the textile industry, today it's more often remembered for its struggles. With a population of about 160,000, Paterson is dense, diverse, and plagued by crime. According to Neighborhood Scout, violent crime is nearly double the national average. Assaults, robberies, and shootings occur with unsettling regularity, leaving residents with a 1 in 140 chance of becoming victims. Property crimes, from thefts to burglaries, further erode any sense of security. Economically, Paterson faces deep challenges. Median household income is just $52,000, far below the state median of $97,000, U.S. Census Bureau, 2023. Roughly 26% of residents live below the poverty line, making it one of New Jersey's poorest large cities. With unemployment higher than average, opportunities for upward mobility remain scarce. Housing is technically cheaper, with median values around $350,000, but that affordability comes with drawbacks: aging infrastructure, overcrowded housing, and ever-present safety concerns. It's like buying a discounted concert ticket only to find the speakers cut out half the time. Paterson's saving grace is its diversity and culture. Immigrant communities fuel its identity, while landmarks like the Great Falls National Historical Park highlight its natural beauty. But diversity and scenery don't erase systemic issues. So, the tough question: does culture outweigh the daily battles with crime and poverty? For many residents, the answer has been no. Paterson illustrates how history and diversity alone can't carry a city forward without tackling fundamental problems. Number 3. Trenton. Being a state capital should come with advantages, jobs, development, even pride. But for Trenton, the title feels more like a burden than a blessing. With about 90,000 residents, the city may hold political power, yet daily life here ranks among the toughest in New Jersey. The crime rate is staggering. FBI data shows Trenton's violent crime is nearly 3 times the national average, giving residents a 1 in 94 chance of becoming victims of robberies, assaults, or homicides that make frequent headlines. Property crime only adds to the unease, with break-ins and thefts eroding any sense of security. Financially, Trenton struggles just as much. Median household income sits around $47,000, less than half of New Jersey's $97,000 median, U.S. Census Bureau, 2023. Nearly 28% of residents live in poverty, a divide visible in underfunded schools, limited health care, and neglected neighborhoods, all within the state's political hub. Housing may look affordable, with median values near $230,000 compared to the state's $500,000 average. But a cheaper mortgage means little when safety is always in question. In Trenton, affordability comes at the cost of peace of mind. The city does hold assets, rich cultural history, Revolutionary War landmarks, and an active arts community. But heritage can't outweigh present-day dangers. The question remains: how does the capital of one of the nation's wealthiest states continue to offer so little in quality of life? Until Trenton bridges that gap, it remains a cautionary tale instead of a comeback story. Number 2. Atlantic City. Atlantic City likes to call itself the Las Vegas of the East Coast. But outside the casinos and neon lights, the reality is closer to Vegas's broke cousin who never left the boardwalk. With about 38,000 residents, this seaside town depends on tourism, while locals face some of the worst odds of all. According to FBI data, Atlantic City's violent crime rate is 4 times the national average. That translates to a 1 in 80 chance of becoming a victim of robberies, assaults, or drug-related crimes. Property crime is also rampant, with car thefts and break-ins keeping residents constantly on edge. The economy is just as lopsided. Casinos generate billions each year, yet median household income for locals is only $31,000, among the lowest in New Jersey, U.S. Census Bureau, 2023. Around 35% of residents live in poverty, creating one of the state's starkest divides between wealth and struggle. The revenue flows in, but residents rarely see the benefit. Housing costs are relatively low at about $210,000. But affordability comes with steep strings attached: high crime, unstable tourism-driven jobs, and limited opportunity. It's like winning a small jackpot at the casino, only to lose your wallet on the way out. Atlantic City does have its draws: beaches, a world-famous boardwalk, and big-name entertainment. But here's the truth: tourists get to leave. Residents don't. And living in a place dominated by crime and poverty isn't a gamble most people want to make. Number 1. Camden. Camden doesn't just make New Jersey's worst cities list, it claims the top spot outright. With roughly 71,000 residents just across the river from Philadelphia, Camden's problems are as visible as they are persistent. The numbers are stark. FBI data shows Camden's violent crime rate is 5 times higher than the national average, giving residents a 1 in 61 chance of becoming victims of robberies, assaults, or shootings. Property crime is also pervasive, with break-ins and car thefts part of daily life. Here, safety is never guaranteed. The economic outlook is equally bleak. Median household income is only $32,000, a fraction of the state's $97,000 median, U.S. Census Bureau, 2023. Roughly 35% of residents live below the poverty line, making Camden one of the poorest cities in the entire country. Unemployment remains high, and redevelopment projects often bypass the people who need them most. Housing is undeniably cheap, with median values near $110,000. But the low cost comes with heavy trade-offs: crumbling infrastructure, struggling services, and the constant weight of crime. You might save money on a mortgage, but you'll pay in stress and security. Culturally, Camden has strengths: a resilient community, rich history, and waterfront attractions. But survival shouldn't rely solely on resilience. Until stability replaces struggle, Camden remains one of America's clearest examples of how cheap housing doesn't equal quality living. It's no surprise the city has lost nearly half its population since the 1950s, as residents move elsewhere for safety and opportunity. New Jersey isn't all diners, beaches, and Bruce Springsteen anthems. As this list shows, some cities come with thorns sharp enough to drive residents away. From sky-high crime rates to fragile economies and neighborhoods where patience is tested daily, these are the top 10 worst towns to live in New Jersey right now. Now it's your turn. Do you agree with this list, or do you think another city should have made the countdown? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this video useful, eye-opening, or even just entertaining, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone considering a move to New Jersey. Trust me, you might just save someone from making a life-changing mistake. Until next time, stay safe, stay smart, and I'll see you in the next video.